Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, good morning, everybody. Wow. So I tried to get on Facebook earlier, but it wouldn't let me do it. So I went ahead and went live on IG, and now I'm over here on Facebook. So good morning, everybody. My name is Juanita Williams. I am Purpose Conduit and CEO of Emerged. I also am the CEO of Woman Emerged, which is an online school which will be launched in 2022. This is today's Tuesday Truths. So, wow. Again, thank you for joining me. And I'm sorry I'm a little late. I am, but anyway, I'm here. Had a little technical difficulty with Facebook. So, hey, but I'm here now. And I always say, I'm here when the Lord wants me to be. So, this was His timing. And His timing is always perfect. Again, thank you for joining me. For those that are joining me now and those that will join me later, I thank you and I always thank you for your support. So today's topic, I'm going to get right into it, is limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs. And the reason why I am exploring this topic again, because I have explored it before, is because a question came up for me to answer, and it is, what fear is your new character free of that your current character has? Um, I'm in another program that I'm going through, and this is the question that they ask. So essentially, the question, the way I understand it, is, what am I afraid of now that caused me to have a limiting belief about myself in the past? What am I afraid of now that caused me to have a limiting belief about myself in the past? So I approached the subject of limiting beliefs, but before this time, but this time, excuse me, I approached the subject of limiting beliefs as I stated before, but this time I had to go deeper and I had to find the root cause of my limiting belief. I found out what it was when I approached the subject before, but I had never discovered what the root cause was. So the limiting belief that I had was, it won't happen for me, that I am just chasing rabbits. I am on a hamster wheel that goes nowhere. And this limiting belief, it came from my childhood. So I ran across a blog by Joel Ansley, and he gives you 4 steps to destroying limiting beliefs. But he wants you to dig deep and find the root cause of that limiting belief. So this limiting belief that I had that I am now destroying, um, that it won't happen for me, it came from my childhood. And it came from, um, I think I was probably 8 or 9 years old, and I wanted to march in a Santa Claus parade. Good morning, sis. Thanks for joining me always. Love you, girl. So I wanted to march in a Santa Claus parade, and I had the opportunity to do that. So there are some youth centers around my town where I live, and um, they were creating a drill team to march in the Santa Claus parade. And this was when I was probably 8 or 9 years old. So since I wanted to march in the Santa Claus parade and be on the drill team, I went and signed up. And then the qualification was you had to attend all practices. And so that's what I did. I went to every practice and I worked my butt off to learn the routines so I could march in the Santa Claus parade. So on the day of the parade, there was some guy, I guess he was over this whole thing, but I think I had only seen him once, maybe. Um, he came and he was the one that was choosing the people to be on the drill team to go march in the Santa Claus parade. So he was choosing, again, remember, He had to be at every practice in order to march in the Santa Claus parade. So he started choosing people. And when he got to me, he said, pointed to me and said, "You weren't there." And then he chose somebody else. And of course, that broke my heart. And there was another young lady who was one of the teachers um, in teaching us the routines for the drill team. She stopped him and told him, "Yeah, no, she was there." And he just said, "No, she wasn't." And he moved on and chose other kids. So I was just left standing there. I went home and I told my stepmom, and she just told me to go back up there and tell him that I was there. That, I mean, he's an adult, so, and they were all very already gone anyway. So me going back up there wouldn't have done any good. So the limiting belief that it won't happen to me was formed then. I can work hard as I want, um, and learn, work in excellence, work in integrity, but still, it didn't happen for me. And this limiting belief was carried over into adulthood. And it happened the same way with my career. So I worked hard, I worked in excellence, and I worked with integrity. However, I kept getting passed over for promotion. And I didn't realize that the limiting belief that I had in my subconscious was that it's never going to happen to me. And even though I applied for whatever position that came open, I never believed that I would get it. I always believed that they would pick somebody else. And guess what? They picked somebody else because of the limiting belief that I had that it's not going to happen for me. So that's the aura that I gave off. So Joel Ansley says limiting beliefs are nothing more than toxic assumptions that somehow we take as truth. He says, I say toxic because they don't serve us, and limiting beliefs never serve us. Limiting beliefs, they hold us back from living, they hold us back from being our true self, and they hold us back from stepping towards our potential. Joel says it's quite common for the bulk of these beliefs to be formed during our childhood. And that's exactly when mine was formed. When I got passed over as a child for being able to participate on the drill team in the Santa Claus parade. And that limiting belief was formed and it stemmed from me constantly being overlooked. Constantly being overlooked. Again, Joel says that these beliefs usually form in childhood. Without us knowing, we carry these beliefs into our adulthood, which I did. They become engraved into our subconscious, and then they become a subconscious belief. Usually, the most common subconscious belief is centered around somehow not being enough. And that definitely was me. That definitely was me. I always felt that I was not enough. But that limiting belief started when I was 6 years old. And that came from me being rejected, bullied, talked about, teased. Um, People just didn't want to, I don't know. They were just mean. And these were people that were supposed to be close to me. I'll just put it like that. Um, so I always felt that I wasn't good enough. I always felt that I wasn't good enough to be around them. I always felt that I wasn't good enough to be around anybody. So I became a loner. I just hung by myself. And with this subconscious belief, you become the ultimate perfectionist, which I did. I became the ultimate perfectionist. And when you deal with perfectionism, you most always are always overthinking or self doubting because you want to get things right. There's nothing wrong with working in excellence. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. But we tend to overthink and then we self doubt. Limiting beliefs don't disappear overnight. It takes work to identify where the belief came from and developing strategies to counteract these beliefs and to replace them with another belief. Philippians 4:13 says, "For I can do everything through Christ who gives me strength." Through the strength of Christ, that limiting belief will be destroyed. So Joel Ansley gave 4 steps to follow to destroy those limiting beliefs. And might I add, you need to destroy the limiting beliefs one at a time so you won't get overwhelmed. Romans 8:37 says, "Yet in all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us." So we are more than conquerors and we have the strength of Christ. So we can destroy these limiting beliefs. So the first step that Joel gave to destroy the limiting belief is to identify, uncover the limiting belief. Now I say you're going to have to do some deep dumpster diving to discover the root cause of that limiting belief. And Joel says, when you're discovering these limiting beliefs, write the list. Write out whatever limiting beliefs you have, write the list out. No matter what they are, you need to write them all out. And then once you write that list out, acknowledge. That's the second step. Acknowledge the limiting belief. Acknowledge that they are only beliefs. They aren't real, and they certainly aren't set in stone. When you acknowledge that they are indeed something we have constructed or invented in our minds unknowingly, then you open up the potential to reprogram, and I say renew, and change that limiting belief. TK, it does not say TK, it says T. Harv Eker quotes, says, "Nothing has meaning except for the meaning you give it." Nothing has meaning except for the meaning that you give it. So, my question to you is, what meaning have you given those limiting beliefs that made them seem as though they were reality? What meaning have you given to those beliefs that made them seem as though they were reality? Romans 12:2b says, "But let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think." Romans 12b. So the third step that Joel Ansley gives is reprogramming, and I say renewing. So he says reprogramming, renewing our mind is not easy. That subconscious mind can be like a dirty basement. It's going to take real effort to sort through and clean it. There are many different ways to approach this, but he gives three ways that you can approach reprogramming or renewing your mind. He says meditation, visualization, or emotional freedom technique, EFT. He says they are extremely powerful. Or just simply saying out loud in front of a mirror. That's the emotional freedom technique. You simply say your limiting belief and then what you've replaced it with out loud in front of a mirror. And it does work because saying it in front of a mirror, or you can use your camera or on your phone or whatever, it'll become more real to you because you're saying it to you. You're speaking life into yourself. I would encourage you to tackle one limiting belief at a time. And then go ahead and work through whatever emotion comes with that limiting belief, because believe me, there will be some kind of emotion that's going to rise up, whether it be sorrow, anger, or frustration, or whatever. Work through it, because you won't be able to destroy that limiting belief unless you allow yourself to first feel the emotion. You got to feel that emotion. You're going to identify that limiting belief, acknowledge it, and then feel that emotion that comes with it so you can reprogram or renew your mind, because you're not going to be able to destroy that limiting belief without working through that emotion that comes with it. The fourth step is destroy and create anew. So now that you've acknowledged your limiting belief and you've programmed or renewed your mind, you can destroy and create anew. So you can picture that the limiting belief is gone. It's been shredded, it's been burned, it's been dropped off the edge of the earth, or whatever works for you. Then picture how your life will change now that the limiting belief is gone. How will things change for the better for you? What new confidence will you have? What will you be able to achieve? If you feel resistance come up, that's okay because you will. I'm a witness. Remember again, the subconscious mind is like a dirty basement. You might find that stuff may keep coming up that you didn't even realize was there. So keep at it. Don't stop. Keep acknowledging, keep reprogramming or renewing, keep destroying and creating anew. And you'll be a pro at this before too long. Those are Joel Ansley's words. Again, Romans 12 and 2b says, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. So, for the recap, destroying those limiting beliefs won't be easy, but it's necessary. You have to identify the limiting belief, acknowledge the limiting belief, reprogram or renew your mind, and destroy and create a new belief about you. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate your support always. My name is Juanita Williams. I am a purpose conduit, CEO of Emerged, and this is today's Tuesday Truths. So you guys have a fantabulous week and an awesome-tastic day, and I will see you next week, God willing. Bye-bye now.